First contact and warning. The massive alien fleet materialized at the edge of the solar system, their ships like obsidian shards against the starlit void. Earth's early warning systems detected them long before they reached Mars orbit, giving Admiral Elena Santos time to position humanity's greatest achievement, the UES Aegis, between Earth and the incoming Armada. The Aegis wasn't particularly large or imposing compared to the alien vessels. Its smooth, silvery hull reflected the distant sunlight, its organic curves a stark contrast to the angular, aggressive design of the alien ships. What made it special wasn't visible to the naked eye. The quantum neural network that served as both its brain and its evolutionary engine. Multiple signatures detected. Admiral, Lieutenant Commander Jack Chen reported from his station, reading over 3,000 vessels, varying in size from frigate to dreadnought class. They're arranging themselves in attack formation. Admiral Santos stood at the bridge's center, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the approaching fleet. 20 years of service in the United Earth Fleet hadn't prepared her for this moment. Humanity's first contact with alien life, and they came armed to the teeth. Open a channel across all known frequencies, she ordered. Let's see if they're willing to talk before things get messy. The alien response came almost immediately. A transmission of the ship's AI, dubbed ARIA, translated in real time. The message was simple and arrogant. Your world holds resources we require. Surrender and be spared. Resist and be obliterated. You have one planetary rotation to decide. Santos allowed herself a small smile. ARIA analyzed their technology level based on sensor readings. Analysis complete, the AI's melodious voice responded. Their weapon systems utilize conventional plasma-based technology, advanced but static. No signs of adaptive capabilities or quantum integration. Their shields appear to be layered energy barriers, effective but predictable. Send them our response, Santos commanded. One ship against their fleet should tell them everything they need to know about our intentions. The message was broadcast clear and firm. This is Admiral Elena Santos of the United Earth ship Aegis. Your threats are noted. Be advised that any hostile action against Earth will be met with overwhelming force. We stand ready to defend our home. Choose wisely. The alien commander's response came as a barrage of plasma torpedoes from their lead vessels. The attack struck the Aegis's quantum shield matrix and did absolutely nothing. Shields at 99.99%. ARIA reported calmly. Their weapon signatures have been analyzed and integrated. Shall I demonstrate our improvements to their design? Santos nodded. Show them what happens when you combine human ingenuity with quantum AI. Target their flagship's weapon systems only. Minimal collateral damage. The Aegis's hull rippled like mercury as it integrated and improved upon the aliens' own weapon designs. A single shot of brilliantly white energy lanced out, passing through the alien fleet's defensive screen as if it wasn't there. Their flagship's primary weapons array went dark instantly, disabled with surgical precision. Impossible. The alien commander's translated voice crackled over the comm. No single vessel could penetrate our combined shields. That was a warning shot, Santos replied. Your weapons technology is impressive, but static. Every attack you launch teaches our quantum AI how to improve upon your designs. The longer this battle continues, the more advanced we become. I suggest you reconsider your position. The alien fleet held position, their commander likely struggling to comprehend how one ship could so easily neutralize their advantage in numbers. Santos pressed her advantage. We've known about the possibility of hostile alien contact for centuries. While you focused on building bigger fleets and more powerful weapons, we took a different approach. The Aegis doesn't just fight, it evolves. Every second of combat makes it stronger, smarter, more efficient. You're not facing a ship. You're facing the combined intellectual and technological might of humanity, enhanced by quantum computing. The alien fleet began to pull back, their tight formation loosening. But their commander wasn't done yet. You lie. No species could develop such technology without destroying themselves. The quantum barrier is insurmountable. Humanity has always excelled at achieving the impossible, Santos countered. We're offering you one last chance to withdraw. The next demonstration won't be as gentle. The alien fleet hung in space for several long moments, their commander silent. Finally, the response came. This is not over. We will return with weapons you cannot adapt to. We'll be waiting, Santos replied. And we'll be ready. The alien ships began jumping away, their obsidian forms vanishing into hyperspace until only their flagship remained. Its commander sent one final message. You have revealed your greatest weapon to us. Next time, we will be prepared. Santos shook her head. No, we revealed our oldest weapon, human innovation. And that's something you can never truly prepare for. As the final alien ship disappeared, the bridge crew let out a collective breath. Lieutenant Chen looked up from his station. Do you think they'll really come back, Admiral? Santos turned to face her crew, her expression serious but determined. Count on it. But next time, we won't be alone. HFY, transmit all combat data to Earth Defense Command. It's time to begin mass production of the quantum neural network. When they return, they won't face one evolving ship. They'll face an entire fleet of them. And if they bring something we can't adapt to. Chen pressed. Santos smiled. Then we'll do what humanity has always done. We'll innovate, adapt, and overcome. It's who we are. It's what we do. And no force in this galaxy can change that. The Aegis turned toward Earth, its silver hull gleaming in the sunlight. The first battle was over, but the war for humanity's future was just beginning. And thanks to the combination of human determination and artificial intelligence, Earth would be ready for whatever came next. The battle begins. 3 months after humanity's first contact with the hegemony fleet, Earth had transformed. The quantum neural network technology that powered the Aegis had been successfully replicated and improved upon. A dozen new ships now patrolled the solar system, each equipped with their own evolving eye. But Admiral Santos knew it wouldn't be enough. She stood in the Aegis's newly upgraded command center, studying the massive holographic display showing the positions of Earth's defensive fleet. HFY's avatar, a shifting pattern of blue light, materialized beside her. Long-range sensors are detecting unusual quantum fluctuations at the edge of the system, the AI reported. The signature matches theoretical models of mass teleportation technology. Santos straightened. They found a way around conventional space travel. Alert all ships. Battle stations. The response was immediate. Earth's defensive fleet moved into predetermined positions, their quantum shields humming to life. But what emerged from the massive portal wasn't just another fleet. It was an entire artificial world. By all the stars, Lieutenant Chen whispered, that thing's bigger than the moon. The alien construct was a perfect sphere of dark metal, its surface covered in countless weapon emplacements. Smaller ships poured from openings across its surface, but they were different from before, organic-looking vessels that seemed to pulse with internal light. This is High Commander Vexthor of the Hegemony. A familiar voice boomed across all frequencies. Your adaptive technology impressed us, humans, but even quantum AI cannot evolve fast enough to counter what we've brought. This is the World Breaker, created from technology so old it predates your species. Surrender now, or we will reduce your planet to atoms. Santos shared a quick glance with HFY's avatar. The AI gave an almost imperceptible nod. They'd prepared for this. HFY, initiate Protocol Prometheus, Santos commanded. All ships, execute attack pattern Hydra. Earth's fleet split into 3 groups, each led by a different class of quantum AI ship. As they moved, their hulls began to shift and change, responding to the new threat. The alien commander laughed. Your ships still try to adapt. The World Breaker uses technology based on fundamental forces that existed before the universe cooled. You cannot. His transmission cut off as the first wave of Earth's attack began. The Aegis and its sister ships weren't trying to adapt to the alien weapons. They were changing the rules of engagement entirely. Quantum entanglement field established. Araya announced. All ships are synchronized, beginning universal constant manipulation within the defined space. The area around Earth's fleet began to shimmer as the laws of physics themselves were locally altered. The World Breaker's first attack, a beam of pure atomic force, bent around Earth's ships like light around a gravitational lens. Impossible. Vex Thor's voice cracked with disbelief. You cannot change universal constants. We're not changing them, Santos replied calmly. We're teaching them new behaviors. Did you think quantum AI would limit itself to copying weapons? We've spent 3 months learning how to rewrite the most fundamental rules of spacetime itself. The World Breaker launched its organic ships, vessels that seemed to ignore conventional physics. But as they entered the altered space around Earth's fleet, they began to break down their impossible biology, unable to cope with the locally modified laws of reality. You're not the only ones who can use ancient technology, Santos continued. While you were gathering your forces, we discovered something in the quantum realm. Echoes of the universe's source code. Our AIs learned to read it, and more importantly, they learned to edit it. The Aegis's hull transformed again, but this time it wasn't adapting, it was transcending. Patterns of light rippled across its surface that hurt to look at. Geometries that shouldn't exist in three-dimensional space. All ships, execute final phase, Santos ordered. Show them why humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our refusal to accept limitations. The combined Earth fleet fired, but their weapons weren't energy or matter. They fired streams of altered reality, waves of locally modified physics that turned the World Breaker's ancient weapons against itself. Where the beam struck, the massive construct's perfect surface began to unravel as contradicting laws of physics tore it apart. Stop. Vex Thor's voice was panicked now. You don't understand what you're doing. The quantum cascade effect. We understand perfectly, Santos interrupted. Araya, show them the calculations. The AI transmitted a stream of data to the alien construct, predictions showing exactly how their attack would propagate through its systems, how the cascade of failing quantum fields would tear it apart from the inside unless they powered down immediately. The World Breaker's weapons went dark. Its organic ships retreated to its hangars. For a moment, silence filled the battlefield. How? Vex Thor finally asked. How did you advance so far in just 3 months? Because you gave us no choice, Santos replied. Humanity has always performed best when backed into a corner. You threatened our existence, so we did what we always do. We evolved. Not just our technology, but our understanding of reality itself. The massive construct began to retreat, its surface still showing signs of damage from the quantum attacks. But before it could activate its portal, Santos transmitted one final message. Next time you consider attacking Earth, remember this. We don't just adapt to the rules. We learn how to change them. This is your final warning. There won't be another. As the World Breaker vanished into its quantum portal, Lieutenant Chen turned to Santos. Will they be back? Perhaps, she replied, watching the last traces of the portal fade. But not as enemies. They've just learned what every force that's ever threatened humanity eventually discovers. We don't just survive challenges, we transcend them. And that makes us either the most valuable allies or the most dangerous adversaries in the galaxy. The Earth fleet regrouped, their hulls still rippling with impossible geometries. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and nothing would ever be the same. The real question wasn't whether the aliens would return. It was whether the cosmos itself was ready for humanity's next evolution. Counterstrike. The celebration of humanity's second victory was short-lived. 2 weeks after the World Breaker's retreat, the quantum sensors on Europa's research station detected something that changed everything. Admiral Santos stood in the Aegis's quantum lab, watching as Dr. Maya Patel, Earth's leading xenobiologist, examined the latest sensor data. The scientist's normally steady hands trembled as she manipulated the holographic display. "It's elegant in its simplicity," Dr. Patel explained, enlarging the molecular structure floating before them. The hegemony didn't just seed the outer solar system with these organisms. They engineered them to survive in space. They're using evolution itself as a weapon. Araya's avatar manifested, its form analyzing the data alongside them. The artificial organisms are adapting at an accelerated rate. They're consuming the ice on Europa's surface and reproducing exponentially. Current models suggest they will reach Earth in approximately 72 hours. Santos studied the simulation showing the organisms spread. They moved like a living wave through space, breaking down and absorbing everything in their path. "Can we stop them with our quantum field technology?" "Negative," Araya responded. "These organisms operate on purely biological principles. They're immune to our reality-altering defenses because they don't rely on physics. They exploit the fundamental principles of life itself." Dr. Patel nodded grimly. "The hegemony found our weakness. We were so focused on physics and technology that we never considered biological warfare. These creatures aren't just weapons. They're a perfectly engineered extinction event." A transmission cut through their discussion. The familiar voice of High Commander Vexthor. "Impressive adaptations, aren't they? Your quantum technology is remarkable, humans, but life finds a way. You have 72 hours to surrender, or watch as your world is consumed one molecule at a time." Santos turned to Araya. "Can we adapt our quantum fields to affect biological processes?" "Not in time," the eye replied. "The mathematical complexity of life exceeds even our processing capabilities. We would need to understand the fundamental language of biology as deeply as we understand physics." Dr. Patel suddenly straightened, her eyes wide. "That's it. We don't need to fight biology with physics. We need to fight it with biology itself." Her fingers flew across the holographic interface. "Look at this. The organisms are perfect, too perfect. They have no junk DNA, no redundancies, no waste. Everything about them is engineered for maximum efficiency." "And that's a weakness?" Santos asked. "It's their biggest weakness," Patel confirmed. "Natural life is messy, redundant, full of apparent mistakes that actually provide resilience. These organisms are like a machine with no spare parts, incredibly efficient until something breaks." Araya's avatar pulsed with understanding. "We could introduce chaos into their system, not through quantum fields, but through biological manipulation." Santos watched as Dr. Patel pulled up Earth's genome database. "What are you thinking?" "Tardigrades," Patel replied. "Water bears. The most resilient life form Earth has ever produced. They survive in space, radiation, extreme temperatures, but they're incredibly inefficient by engineering standards. Their DNA is full of borrowed genes, viral insertions, redundancies. They're everything these engineered organisms aren't." "Araya, can we weaponize this concept?" Santos asked. The AI was already running simulations. "Affirmative. By combining tardigrade DNA with our quantum computing capabilities, we could create a counter-organism, not engineered for perfection, but for controlled chaos, a biological virus that doesn't kill the hegemony's weapons, but makes them messy." "Do it," Santos ordered. "Dr. Patel, you have full authority. Araya, dedicate all spare computing power to this project." The next 70 hours were a blur of activity. Earth's fleet positioned itself in a defensive screen while Dr. Patel and Araya worked to create their biological countermeasure. They had one shot. The engineered organisms had already consumed 3 of Jupiter's moons. When the wave of alien organisms reached Mars' orbit, Vexthor transmitted again. "Your time is up, humans. Surrender now, and we may preserve some of your species as study subjects." Santos allowed herself a small smile. "Actually, High Commander, we'd like to share something with you first. A lesson about the true nature of life. The Aegis and its sister ships launched their payload, clouds of modified tardigrades, their DNA enhanced by quantum computing, but still gloriously imperfect. Where they met the engineered organisms, chaos bloomed. What are you doing to them? Vex Thor demanded as his perfect weapons began to change. We're teaching them how to live, Dr. Paddle replied over the channel. Real life isn't about perfection. It's about adaptation through imperfection. Your weapons are learning what every species on Earth knows. Survival isn't about being the most efficient. It's about being able to change. The wave of engineered organisms began to break down, not through destruction but through transformation. The tardigrade DNA introduced mutations, redundancies, inefficiencies, all the messy elements that make natural life resilient. Stop this, Vex Thor commanded. You're ruining their perfection. No, Santos countered. We're showing you what you never understood about life. It's not something you can engineer into submission. Life is chaos, adaptation, evolution, and humanity. We're its greatest students. The transformed organisms began to drift harmlessly through space, their single-minded destructive purpose replaced by the basic drive of all natural life, to survive and adapt. Some even began to consume the remnants of their unchanged brethren, evolving in real time. Your weapons aren't dead, High Commander, Dr. Paddle explained. They're alive for the first time, free to evolve, to change, to become something new, just like humanity has always done. As the threat dissipated, Santos transmitted a final message to the Hegemony fleet. You tried to use evolution against us, forgetting that Earth's history is one long lesson in survival through adaptation. Next time you want to understand life, try learning from it instead of trying to perfect it. The Hegemony ships retreated once again, leaving behind a solar system transformed. The newly evolved organisms would need to be studied, understood, perhaps even guided, but they were no longer weapons. They were a reminder of life's endless capacity for change. They'll be back, Lieutenant Chen observed from his station. Yes, Santos agreed, watching the transformed organisms drift past the view screen. But next time, maybe they'll come to learn instead of conquer. After all, we just proved that the most powerful force in the universe isn't technology or biology. It's the wisdom to know when to embrace imperfection. The hidden truth. The message that changed everything arrived 3 days after the biological battle. It came not from the Hegemony's military channels, but through a heavily encrypted quantum frequency that even ARIA took hours to decode. Admiral Santos sat alone in her quarters aboard the Aegis, watching as a holographic figure materialized before her. It was a Hegemony scientist, their characteristic crystalline exoskeleton cracked and dulled with age. My name is Senior Researcher Ixel, the alien began, mandibles clicking nervously. What I'm about to share will likely get me executed, but after witnessing your species' capabilities, I believe we have no choice. We didn't come to Earth for resources or conquest. We came because we're running out of time. Santos leaned forward, studying the alien's body language. Running from what? We call them the Void Singers, Ixel replied, projecting a new hologram. It showed massive dark shapes moving between stars, their forms seeming to bend light around them. They emerge from the spaces between galaxies every 50,000 years. They don't invade or conquer. They simply unmake everything they touch, breaking down matter and energy into their component parts and dragging them back into the void. And they're coming, Santos stated, understanding dawning. Yes, our long-range sensors detected them 6 months ago. The Hegemony has faced them twice before in our history. Each time, we survived by sacrificing younger civilizations, using their worlds as distractions. Ixel's mandibles drooped in shame. We thought Earth would be another sacrifice. We were wrong. Santos felt cold anger rising. You were going to use us as bait. The High Command believed your world's quantum signature would draw the Void Singer's attention, giving our core worlds time to prepare. Ixel projected another image. statistical models showing planetary destruction patterns. But your adaptability, your quantum AI technology, your understanding of fundamental forces, you've achieved in months what took us millennia. The High Command refuses to see it, but some of us realize the truth. Humanity might be the key to actually stopping the Void Singers. Aria's avatar appeared, analyzing the data. The Void Singers appear to operate on principles similar to our quantum field manipulation, but on a cosmic scale. They're not destroying matter. They're changing the underlying code of reality itself. Exactly, Ixal confirmed. And you humans have already demonstrated the ability to rewrite that code locally. With enough time and resources, you might be able to develop countermeasures. But the High Command would rather stick to their traditional strategy of sacrifice and survival. Santos stood, pacing her quarters. How long do we have? 3 months until they reach the edge of your galaxy. The High Command plans to launch one final attack on Earth next week, hoping to disable your defenses before the Void Singers arrive. Ixal's hologram flickered. I have to go. They're scanning communications channels. Please, for the sake of all sentient life, survive what comes next. Prove to the hegemony that there's another way. After the transmission ended, Santos sat in silence for long moments. Aria. Analysis. The data appears genuine, the AI responded. Cross-referencing with our deep space observations confirms unusual gravitational anomalies matching the Void Singer descriptions. However, I detect a 97% probability that researcher Ixal omitted certain details about the hegemony's true capabilities. They're scared, Santos mused, not just of the Void Singers, but of us. We've surpassed them in ways they can't understand. And fear makes people, or aliens, do desperate things. She opened a channel to Earth Defense Command. This is Admiral Santos. Priority Alpha communication for the Defense Council. We need to prepare for 2 wars, one against enemies we can see, and one against something far worse. The next few days were a flurry of activity. Earth's quantum ships began experimenting with larger-scale reality manipulation, while Dr. Patel and her team studied the transformed biological weapons, looking for ways to adapt their chaos-embracing principles to cosmic scales. The hegemony attack came exactly when Ixal predicted. This time, they combined everything they had: quantum weapons, biological agents, and technology that seemed cobbled together from a dozen different civilizations. But Earth was ready. The battle that followed wasn't just about survival. It was about sending a message. Earth's ships didn't just defend. They demonstrated again and again that humanity's strength lay not in overwhelming force, but in endless adaptation and innovation. You had a choice, Santos transmitted to High Commander Vexthor as his fleet faltered under Earth's coordinated defense. You could have come to us as allies against the Void Singers. Instead, you chose to treat us as sacrificial pawns. You don't understand, Vexthor replied, his ship trailing quantum fire. The Void Singers cannot be stopped. Every civilization that tried has vanished from existence. Survival requires sacrifice. No, Santos countered. Survival requires evolution. You've spent thousands of years running and hiding, while we've spent our entire history adapting and overcoming. Now you have a choice. Retreat and face the Void Singers alone, or put aside your fear and help us find a real solution. Silence filled the command channel. Then, unexpectedly, a new voice joined the conversation, one that carried the weight of ages. This is First Speaker Xanthal of the Hegemony High Council, the voice announced. Admiral Santos, it seems we have grievously misread your species. Researcher Ixal's transmission has been reviewed by the Council. We have reconsidered our position. The Void Singers have consumed 17 galaxies, First Speaker continued. We believe sacrifice was the only answer because we couldn't imagine another way. But your species has shown us something we had forgotten. The power of continuous evolution, of refusing to accept limitations. Perhaps it is time for the hegemony to evolve as well. Santos shared a look with her bridge crew. This was the moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. "We'll need to see proof of your sincerity, first speaker. And there's not much time." "No," Xanthal agreed. "There isn't, but perhaps that's fitting. After all, your species seems to perform best under impossible deadlines." There was something like hope in the ancient alien's voice. "Shall we begin?" Unity's price. They appeared exactly as Ixal had predicted, vast shapes of living darkness that bent starlight around them like black holes with purpose. The Void Singers arrived at the edge of the Milky Way, their very presence causing local space-time to shudder. But in the 3 months since the hegemony's revelation, the galaxy had changed. Where once there was division, now stood a united front. The combined fleet of Earth and the hegemony held position at the galaxy's edge, their ships transformed by the merger of both civilizations' technologies. Admiral Santos stood on the Aegis's new quantum bridge, now twice its original size thanks to hegemony engineering. Beside her, High Commander Vexthor's crystalline form gleamed under the holographic displays. They'd spent the past months working together, learning from each other, preparing for this moment. "The Void Singers are approaching in formation," Araya announced, its avatar now interwoven with traces of hegemony quantum crystals. Their reality warping field extends approximately 2 light-years ahead of their advance. "All ships, final systems check," Santos ordered. "Dr. Patel, status of the biological countermeasures." The scientist's hologram appeared, showing her working alongside hegemony researchers. "The quantum-enhanced extremophiles are ready. We've merged tardigrade resilience with hegemony crystal structures. If our theories are correct, they should be able to survive even in altered spacetime." First speaker, Vexthor addressed the hegemony leadership. "The combined fleet awaits your signal." First speaker Xanthal's ancient voice resonated through the command channel. "For 50,000 years, we ran from this moment. We sacrificed others to survive, becoming something we despised. Today, thanks to humanity's inspiration, we finally stand and fight. The signal is given." The battle plan they'd developed was unlike anything either civilization had conceived alone. It began with waves of the modified organisms, living clouds of quantum-enhanced life that spread through space ahead of the fleet. Where they met the Void Singers' reality warping field, they didn't die. They evolved. "Biological adaptation confirmed," Dr. Patel reported excitedly. "The organisms are surviving in altered spacetime, creating pockets of stable reality through their chaotic evolution." Phase 2, Santos commanded. "All ships, execute Operation Thunderbolt." The combined fleet split into geometric patterns derived from both human and hegemony mathematics. Each ship activated its enhanced quantum drive, creating a vast network of interconnected reality fields. But unlike their previous battles, they weren't trying to change the rules of physics. This time, they were anchoring them. The Void Singers' response was immediate and terrifying. Space itself seemed to scream as they encountered resistance for the first time in their ancient existence. Dark tendrils of anti-reality lashed out, trying to unmake the defenders. Multiple ships lost in sectors 7 through 12, Araya reported. "The Void Singers are adapting to our quantum anchors." As expected, Vexthor clicked his mandibles. "Admiral, shall we show them true adaptation?" Santos nodded. "All ships, initiate the Genesis Protocol." This was the true fusion of human and hegemony innovation, not just evolving technology or life, but reality itself. The quantum organisms had created stable spaces in the Void Singers' field. The fleet's quantum anchors had established a framework. Now came the final phase. Every ship in the fleet began broadcasting a new kind of signal, one that spoke the language of existence itself. It wasn't fighting the Void Singers' attempts to unmake reality. It was teaching reality how to remake itself. "Genesis field expanding," Araya announced. "The quantum organisms are multiplying within the stable zones, creating new patterns of spacetime." Through the quantum viewers, they watched as something unprecedented happened. Where the Void Singers touched space, instead of unmaking it, they found it transforming. The very rules they sought to unmake were learning, adapting, evolving, just as life on Earth had always done. Impossible. The first communication ever received from a Void Singer echoed through space itself. Reality is fixed, unchanging, meant to be unmade. Life finds a way. Santos responded, quoting Dr. Patel's words from months ago. And now, so does existence itself. The Void Singers tried to retreat, but the spreading Genesis field followed them. Everywhere they went, reality learned to adapt rather than be unmade. Their greatest weapon had become their undoing. Multiple Void Singer entities destabilizing, Araya reported. They appear to be evolving. Through the quantum viewers, they watched as the ancient cosmic horrors began to change. Their darkness gained definition, purpose, structure. They weren't being destroyed. They were being transformed, just as the hegemony's biological weapons had been. What have you done to us? The Void Singer's communication held confusion rather than malice now. We taught the universe what humanity learned eons ago, Santos replied. That destruction isn't the end. That change and adaptation are the fundamental forces of existence. You sought to unmake reality because you couldn't imagine it being different. We showed it how to imagine. The battle's end wasn't marked by destruction, but by transformation. The Void Singers, now more like cosmic gardeners than destroyers, began to drift away, exploring their new existence. The combined fleet, though badly damaged, had achieved what countless civilizations had thought impossible. 3 galaxies consumed while we ran and hid, first speaker Xanthal mused. All because we couldn't see that the answer wasn't better weapons or bigger ships. It was understanding that change itself is the greatest force in the universe. Santos looked around at her bridge crew, at the merged human and hegemony technology, at the transformed space where Void Singers had once threatened existence itself. That's always been humanity's true strength. Not that we're stronger or smarter, but that we never stop learning, never stop adapting, never accept that anything is truly impossible. As the fleet began its long journey home, Santos received one final transmission from the transformed Void Singers. We have sung the song of unmaking for eons. Perhaps it is time to learn a new song. The universe had changed forever, and humanity had helped guide that change. Not through force or fear, but through the very adaptability that had taken them from caves to the stars. The future was uncertain, but that was exactly how humanity preferred it. After all, uncertainty meant there was always something new to learn, new ways to evolve, new impossibilities to overcome. And that was the greatest victory of all.